Hey, welcome back to the Social Services Maven. I'm looking in this camera and the fro is lopsided, and I don't know why. It's thinking for itself today. But anyway, today we're going to have a serious conversation. And it's serious because it's the hot topic right now around diversity and inclusion in America and people of color being hired into those roles to bring inclusivity into organizations. And unfortunately, which is so like, what in the world? Nonprofits are hiring these individuals, specifically social services agencies who work in the demographics of Black and Latino and Asian communities, people of color community, or LGBTQ, excuse me. And it's just, I'm just seeing people hiring for that. I'm like, wow, wow. So it says a lot about who has an access services or who have been denied those services. So today I want to speak to African American and Latino case managers who are either entering into the field, who are already in the field, and some just things that I have observed over the past 10 years. And some of my personal experiences, and I think a way for us to, as a collective, establish a new way of being because we're speaking about it now. So one thing I've always seen over the years are Black and Latino individuals who stay in the roles of case management for a very long time. And one, I do not think it's good. I don't think it's good because burnout is real in those entry level positions. You are the foot soldier and you are seeing a lot, you're experiencing a lot day in and day out. So if it's not primary trauma, it's definitely secondary trauma that you are experiencing from hearing these stories. And two things are happening. You are burnt out to where you're sick mentally, physically, spiritually, or secondly, you're ineffective in your role. You're like, I've heard it all before. I know what to do. Just listen to me. Not allowing the person to take control of their own choices in their life. And it's not necessarily a bad thing as much as it's just a robot thing, which is ineffective. And it's ineffective because you're not giving them the opportunity to make decisions. They're like, okay, okay. Because I've been there before, so I'm speaking on it. Like, oh, I already know what to do. Let me just go ahead and send you to this place. I'm gonna call my friend, the social worker over there. We're gonna get you in. Okay, okay. And that may not necessarily be what they need at that time, but because I was on autopilot, I was burnt out. I was like, I just want to put out this fire that's in front of me. That's one. Secondly, what I see is not getting promoted because what have I heard? I like being with the people. I'm not really a corporate person. I'm not a manager. I don't want to deal with, HR and all that. I like being with people. I like to talk. I like hosting my groups. I like doing my case management. I like that. And that's cool. It's great. But we need individuals of color who have been in the entry level positions for extended period of times sitting at the table. You have to be at that table because you get to a point in social services where you end up really being focused on funding, policies, looking at ways to change propositions. It becomes a very policy focused position when you get into these director positions or maybe even some forms of middle management. You have to work on grants. The knowledge that one holds from being in an entry level position for an extended period of time is you cannot even match it to a degree. You cannot, because you know the ins and outs of the program or the project that you're working on, and you have had your ear to the street for so long. You know what's in style, what drugs are in style, what behaviors are in style, what type of outreach is in style. All of that, they're not hearing that up there. It is your role to get promoted and to be sure that you're bringing that to the table. That's the only way to keep services authentic, keep services moving, and keeping it funded, which is therefore keeping individuals getting fed, getting housed, and you staying employed. And number three is you got to play office politics. I used to be one of them. Look, I ain't one for talking, just get real comfortable in the conversation. You have to be one about talking. You have to know how to talk in different rooms. You have to know how to position your request and your opinions in different rooms to different individuals. You never know who's paying attention. So I'm going to use an example. I went to a training and I was highlighted for a leadership spotlight. Lo and behold, the individual who sat on the board was the best friend of the vice president of my organization. He sent an email to me, my director, and all the other directors saying, "We appreciate you." Would have never known. What did I do differently this time in this training? I spoke up. I spoke up about the bias that I see in social services, the racism that I see, social workers who have the power to diagnose and misdiagnosing because they may want to, or they are too arrogant to ask for help. And I spoke on that because I've seen it. And those diagnoses it changes your life. You know what I mean? So I spoke up and someone was listening. Me back in the day, Maven back in the day, I would never said nothing. I would have sat there, kept it in my mind, probably called up a home girl and been like, "Girl, they were saying this," and I was like, "You don't know." But I know, I know. And so therefore I'm gonna speak on it. And that information funneled up to the top. You never know who's in the room. And that's why you have to interact with the room. Don't allow your role title to dictate your function, right? Your function and your title are two different things. Your function is advocacy. Your function is outreach. Your function is helping individuals and connecting them to services or creating services or projects or programs within your organization or your team. That is your function. That is not your title. So don't let entry level get in the way of where you can go or what you can do within your role. And last but not all, trainings. Trainings. I don't want to go to that training. I've been there already. I don't want to go to that training. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. You don't know. Things change. We're in the whole trauma informed care is about to be looking real different, those trainings, once we begin to see, because today is October the 1st. So a lot of people are being furloughed today. We're about to see a whole new drove of individuals entering off into services. Whole new drove. Their trauma is going to look way different than the trauma maybe you're accustomed to. Their trauma is going to look way different. It's going to talk differently and it's going to present itself differently. And are you going to deny them services because you have not interacted with this face, this way of dressing, this way of talking before? And that's why training, especially bias training, is so important. I'm not saying that all African Americans and Latinos do this. I'm speaking from my opinion and my experiences from working with long-term position holders of entry-level positions and case managers. And why I am speaking on this because it's so important for you to get promoted right now. It's so important for you to realign your career to get in management positions so that you can start speaking and making moves and dictating the flow of money from being in an entry level position from a long period of time. And I know that when you go up in social services, you do not see a lot of people of color at all. You might see one or two. You hear a whole bunch of white people dictating decisions that have nothing to do and they have no insight to those neighborhoods. I'm just being very honest and frank right now. And right now is the time for us to be sure that we are telling the true story. That's not based on outdated census statistics, but real end time data and responding to it. Responding to it. I don't know if I said this before, I cannot remember, but I'm going to repeat it. I work in the Tenderloin of San Francisco. The things that I see every day, and San Francisco has a surplus of services and money. And the things that I see, somebody is not talking at the table. The responses are out of touch with what we see. Got to get back to grassroots. We have to get back to micro social services tactics and help out our youth of color. It is a huge substance abuse era right now and homelessness. And this is our future. This is our future. You I'm hopefully praying to God that I live to be a very old woman. And these are going to be a possible doctor that has gotten themselves clean just by being dry. They don't have any of the 12-step tactics or any type of trauma informed therapy to help them. And that could be your doctor. Just because someone is on drugs now doesn't mean they're going to be on it forever. It doesn't mean that they can't get their life together to study. But what we see and what we know from working in behavioral health is that it is definitely a lot of adolescent growth and young adult behavior modifications that are missed when you're in substance abuse, and people can get stuck. And that's me being very pessimistic. But if I remove from the pessimism and move into the optimism, which I would love to stay in, is that right now is the time to respond. And in order for us to respond, we have to be honest about ourselves as professionals and how we're showing up. You do not necessarily have to pursue your social work degree at LCSW or LMFT, which I think is great, which I think we need more of, or, stay in these positions of entry level. It is time to evolve out of that. So I want you to challenge yourself in 2021. Let's just let 2020 go. Just let go. But 2021, January 1st, apply for a role that you're afraid of and apply to the function. Don't apply to be this, don't be afraid because it's management or director or case manager number 5. Look at the function. You know what they're talking about because you have the knowledge. So, to my long standing case managers, I stand with you. I have been the long standing entry level case manager myself for a while, and I had to push myself to go back to school and pursue because I saw that what was not happening, and I knew that I had the skill set to respond to it. So, as always, with a Maven, case managers are so needed. You're needed right now, you're needed always. So, I'm here for you. Let me know in the comments what you all want to hear about. A lot of this stuff is off the dome because just be off the dome. I'm not structured like that. But let me know. So be sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel. See you all later. Bye bye.